Hey everyone, just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, so they're the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Come on over here for a second. You just keep putting your don't tense up, man. Don't tense up, man. Where are you going?
Settle down, bud.
Look, I'm about to jump. Don't tase me, don't.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
Oh my god, that hurts so bad. That was the most painful thing that's ever happened to me. Ever on a film set. Oh my god. So I'm like snapping the clapper to like sync the sound and the video together, and I just just a little bit of my skin on my thumb got clapped into like the part because it's like a solid piece of wood. And like, yeah, I just got caught on the end of that and it went down. I'm like, oh my god, it was just hard enough where it hurt. So what's up, guys? How are you? We are here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show. Me with your host, John D. Clouser. Oh my god, let me get my leg up over. What's up? How are you? Salutations. I used to listen to this Dogman podcast, and the guy would always be like, how are you guys? What's going on? Happy salutations, I believe that was. I don't even know what salutations. The only thing I ever heard anybody use the word salutations was in Charlotte's Web. And what I've also been realizing is like I'm like the only person that ever read any of these books. Like Old Man in the Sea, I was the only one that read it. Was it Romeo and Juliet? I legitly read it. I sat and I read it because that's what we were supposed to do. Mice and Men? Lenny, the really, the touched guy, and they got shot in the back of the head. Look, I see the rabbits, and they shoot him in the back of the head. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, I'm like, you guys, this is one of the best books ever written. This was the book. This was it. And it's like, these are supposed to be some of the best books. Like that one, Old Man in the Sea. What I never understood with the Old Man in the Sea, how they made it. They were trying to connect it with, it was like Jesus like. So this old man, if you ever read this book, because none of y'all fucking did. I was literally the only one that ever did this. So this old man, and so they portrayed, I think he was supposed to be a black man. I'm pretty sure because he had white hair and like skin like. They said something like, was it skin like leather or like skin that was darkened by the sun, something like that. And so in the whole thing is like this old man, he's a fisherman, and then he has this boy come out with him one time, and he's going to teach him how to become a fisherman, so teach him how to fish. And while he's out there, he catches this marlin, and the whole time that he's trying to get the fish back in, like he's fighting off all these animals. So it's like this man versus nature kind of story. And at the very end of it, he doesn't have any. This is a big old spoiler. I don't really give a shit because clearly none of y'all read it, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at this point. And so he gets back home. By the time he gets home, like there's hardly any fish left. There's hardly any of this marlin, and he ends up like going to his place, and he lays down on the bed. He's this old man. His hands are all cut up from the rope. From trying to like pull in the marlin when the shark came and was trying to bite it and was tearing apart the fish, aka the marlin. And he, then like they say he lays out flat and his legs are crossed, and it's supposed to represent like the crucifixion of or the sacrifice that this old man did to the sea, as well as like a metaphor to like him basically dying but teaching someone how to become a fisherman at the same time. I'm like, okay. And it was so funny because I remember like when like the teacher was like describing all this, like, do you guys not see how all this was? And I remember just like maybe it was just like a guy being a fisherman. I get that, but I can totally see how someone can relate the two. I understand that totally. But I'm like, I don't think Hemingway was saying that comparing Jesus Christ to this man, or this old man to Jesus Christ, or maybe he was saying Jesus was a fucking black man. Maybe that's what Hemingway was saying. I don't know. Because none of y'all read the fucking book. I'm clearly the only one that read this book, but I don't understand. It's decent. You could watch the movie and get the whole gist of it, and it's not even that hard of a read. It's like 135 pages. 135 pages, and all the copies I've ever read, because I've read it multiple times. Humble brag. Not even the print isn't even that hard. Mice and Men was way harder. The print was, and was it the Scarlet Letter? That print was weird. And the thing is, like, we just had these books. It was so crazy because, like, my older brother, he was really good. He was really big into reading. But then it wasn't until I got into college when I really started reading all these books. Because I started dating this girl who was a pre-med student, and she's like, I just want you to read something. Just read something every day. Just read an article and then send it to me that you read it. And I'm like, okay, and then we'll talk about it, because then I'll read it too. I'm like, okay, read an article or read something. Just read something. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. It's pretty easy, because I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to see her naked. So the easiest things will keep a man interested. So if anything, all it was doing is really honestly helping me. That's all it was doing. It was like, so, but yeah, I just would read all these books all the goddamn time. And then in high school, I read Old Man and the Sea, Mice and Men. Mice and Men was okay. Again, like the ending of it, again, it's another spoiler. It was just I couldn't get it. I'm like, what? This whole thing, and this guy kills this girl because he like likes her hair, because he pets her hair, and he ends up just choking her to death. He breaks her neck, and I'm like, and then as well as in the book, and then also in the movie, when it was like, I see the rabbits, and then they just shoot him. They shoot him in the back of the head. And it's like, and I understood why he did it, was because he knew that he was going to get caught. The people were going to come and chase him down and kill him. So it was better that he just killed him and did it, and just did it like it's basically just a sense of like, if I just get rid of you, it's going to be a lot easier, and it's a lot more humane versus a herd of men coming and killing you. Or was it town? Like a town was coming to kill him, because it happened in a town, in a barn, in a fucking barn. And there was hay. It's been a while since I've read that one, because I read that one once and I was like, this was not that good, and it wasn't worth my time. I was actually quite upset with that one. And I'm like, why? God damn it. I'm like, why? I'm like, why can't we? I'm like, because I was really expecting that, because we read The Old Man and the Sea, and I'm like, okay, this English teacher has a sense of like understanding. I'm like, I can get a man versus nature story. I can get behind that all day long with The Old Man and the Sea. But Mice and Men was fucking awful. Was absolutely fucking dog shit. But something that was surprising was Tick Tick Boom. Surprisingly good. Still, don't get musicals. I will never get musicals. I'm trying so hard every week. One of the things I watch is a musical. I'm sitting down, I'm doing this but for me, I just don't get it, because it's like watching The Irishman, but with just music. The Irishman was probably one of the worst movies ever made, and the thing that made it worse was the fact that it was like 3.5 hours long. It was incredibly long for incredibly no reason, because all it was just old guys. It was just these old cameos of all these old mafia movie characters, and they're like, are we gonna meet up at the place? We're gonna meet up at the place. And it cuts to another scene of like, you just see a toll booth, and someone comes into the frame, and they get on the phone, like, are you ready to do this? And you see the phone ring, and they pick up the phone, they ring, and it rings. He's like, hello, like, are you ready for this? And the other guy's like, yeah, I'm ready for this. And it cuts to another guy, and the other guy's, and then like they're driving, they meet up at a coffee shop. It's like, we're here. It's like, we're here. It's like, why was it the same thing 3 different times? Quite like how a musical is, where you find out the problem of the story. So within 10 minutes of a story, of any movie, of any film, you should know exactly what the main character's problem is and what it's going to start, what they're going to do to try to conquer that problem. Boom, you're off to the races. And then 10 minutes, you find out the problem, and then you're like, okay, well, damn, I have to find the magical stone. And then they sing about the magical stone instead of going forth with the story. It's like, we know what the problem is. You don't have to sing a chorus. You don't have to tell me now 4 times at this point, because usually the chorus is 3 different times. You play it 3 times, and it's like, why? Why do you do this? And I understand, like, hey, John, like, some people like to have music with their story, and I understand, like, the fox and what's the one with the oboe in it? The fox and the dove. No, God, what was that one? That play? I think it's more of an. Is it a orchestra? Because it has an oboe. You think I'd look it up, but I'm not going. The fox and something. Yeah, it's the fox and something. Well, anyway, so yeah, it's just, yeah, musicals aren't that great to me, and I'm trying. So I listen to this podcast, and it's this producer. He's done a lot of stuff. He does a lot of, like, even like comedy. He does more comedy, raunchy stuff. He's been involved with, like, Step Brothers, that kind of realm. Step Brothers, The Man Show. He did, what was it? He did like according to Jim or something. He just does random shit like that. But he says, like, if you're gonna be a filmmaker, one of the top 5 movies that should be on your list should be Singing in the Rain. And to tell you the truth, I've actually never seen Singing in the Rain. So that's one of the things I'm going to be watching this weekend. That's going to be my musical for this week. Is that last weekend was Tick Tick Boom, and I'm like, it was okay. Like, I get it, because it was about the lead, or about the guy who wrote Rent, and this was about a musical. I think it was like the second musical before he made Rent, and then Rent was like on Broadway for like, what was it, like 15 years or something like that, 15, 16 years. And Rent was huge. Rent's been everything. It's been high school. It's gone from high school all the way up to Broadway. And actually, that was one of the songs that I had to sing for group conference choir. Yeah, conference choir. I did conference choir my senior year. Got on that shit. I guess it's not shit. You got a patch for it. That's really honestly the only reason why I was like, okay, I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, it'll make me look more diverse. It's like, fuck it. I'll just get that for that. And yeah, like, choir. Honestly, the only reason why, and this is something I've never actually ever said before, the only reason why I ever did any of those kind of art stuff, because I couldn't draw, so I couldn't do drawing, or I would have done that. And the only reason I did choir or any of those things, show choir and all that stuff, was because we didn't have anything else. Like, there wasn't any photography, or there wasn't any, like, filmmaking stuff. So I was like, well, fuck. This is the closest thing I can do. So I guess I'll just do this. And I absolutely did not like it that much. It was not fun at all. But I didn't really like anything at all in high school. Nothing. Because I already knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do film. And so I'm like, as soon as I can get the fuck out of this, I could just, like, start doing that. Get in a way where I can figure out a way to, like, get myself on, like, a way of cameras and doing film stuff. Then I'll be off and running. I'll just start doing that. So that was always the thing. That, and then photography. I was like, those are the 2 things I only want to do. There's nothing else. So that's where we're kind of at. And what else? What else do we have? I'm like, what? About halfway through? Yeah. Oh man, do you guys remember growing up? I don't know. So living in the Midwest, you do tornado drills. So I guess it's mostly just a Midwest thing. So what happens and you do it in middle school, you do it in elementary, you do it even in high school, and you would walk out in the hallways, and you'd get closest to the wall. You'd get down on all fours, and you'd cover your head with your hands, and that was it. So that was supposed to protect us for a tornado. And it's like there was literally no sense. They're like, well, we could stay inside the rooms, but then the roof, the whole building would, what if the tornado goes through the room? It's like, well, then when they all die. What if we, just got outside. Like, I think we might die too because the tornado is gonna be outside. It's like, okay, well, shit. What else we could do? Like, I mean, we could just go right outside in the hallway and put our head down and just pray. It's like, okay, that works. We'll just do that instead. It doesn't seem like a full out thought. There was no sense of thought in that. Like, why? Who thinks that putting your head down? Think about it. Putting your head down, getting on all fours, putting your head down, covering up, and just like, and what, that the tornado would just like go in between, like the two rows of people. It was just gonna go right in between. And it's like, all right, well, damn, man, they made a path for me, so there's no reason for me to go off kilter and kill a bunch of them. It's like, there's just no way. And then if the roof, and I'm like thinking, like, if the roof like gets blown off, then what's to say that we don't get blown off with it? And we're just right there. But what had to happen in the room too? I don't know. And then people say like stand in like doorways. That doesn't make any sense to me either, because it's like, it's a fucking tornado. If it could tore through a wind, if it could go through a wall, I'm pretty sure it could go through a doorway too. It's just the dumbest things. And like the only one that makes sense is like maybe going into a ditch. Like, they say that if you are outside, like, fall into a ditch, and then like a tornado won't hurt you, like it'll like go over you, or it'll like break up because it's not, the ground gets broken. I don't know. It's so funny, like living in places where there was tornadoes. Like, I never once understood. You saw it though. You'd walk outside and first it would get really calm. Get really calm, and you're like, it's really eerie, and you hear a oh, then you hear like a cricket, and then you're and you're like, all right, well, there's the thunder, and then next thing you might see a droplet, then boosh, and then it all just happens, and the wind starts blowing really heavy, and then like, after it blows and after it's done, then there is just a bunch of leaves on the ground, a bunch of trees, sometimes hail. A lot of hail lately. I mean, in the most recent years. But tornadoes. Oh God. Okay. So great story. Hilarious story. So I think I'm almost. And when I say almost, I'm 122% sure I saw a drug deal occur right in front of me. So it wasn't like right in front of me, but it was pretty much right there. So I was inside a gas station, and I got gas, and then I went inside because I was like, fuck it, let's just get like a bag of chips. It was like a bag of chips, and so I got that. And so it was only myself and the cashier. And the cashier, when I first got in there, he was right behind the counter. And then he came out, and I saw him because I was on one end of the gas station, but where I was at, you could see all the way on the complete opposite side. And so I saw him walk all the way over to where the Monster cans are. And then I saw him pull something out of his pocket, and it was in a Ziploc baggie, and he put it behind a Monster can. And then he closed the door, and then he walked back up to the front of the store. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. And then, no joke, probably about maybe like 15 seconds later, a guy walked in. He walked all the way over to where the Monster cans are, grabbed a Monster, grabbed what was behind the can, and walked out. And he had the can in his hand, and he just went like that, and he just like tipped it up to the guy. And the cashier like thumbed him, like gave him a thumbs up. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, witnessed the whole thing. I'm like, about 110% sure that was a fucking goddamn drug deal. So, awesome, cool to see. That's how people do it. That's incredibly obvious because I'm there. I was there. Granted, I was the only one in there, so I don't give a fuck. The only reason why I'm like, I won't say a goddamn thing until I get to a podcast. And by that point, like, who in the fuck are you guys? Who the fuck is me? So, that's it. It's like, but it was quite different. It was weird. It was weird. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen anything weird like that in a long, long time. Man, what was the last time I saw something really weird was like people unloading a car, like a bunch of Fisher Price toy stuff from a truck at like 3 in the morning. They end up calling the cops on me because I was in my car because they thought I was breaking into houses, which I wasn't. I was just in my car, and the cops got to my car, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just listening to my iPod, just chilling here," because and I was on my phone there for a minute, and I was like, I'm like really loud, so I'd rather be loud out in my car versus being loud in the house with those people. And they're like, "Okay, well, like it's like 4 in the morning. You should probably go back in your house." I'm like, "Got you, cop. Got you, cop," and I left. It's a great thing about looking like a white guy in a car. Say if I was any darker, they would be like, "Okay, well, sir, we're going to make sure you're not stealing shit." And I would have to then probably be searched. The car would be searched, all that stuff. The guy was just like, "Get the fuck in the house. Like, what are you doing? You have a house. Get in the house. Stay the fuck out of here." But he was like, he did ask me, he's like, "You don't have any like drugs in there, like meth?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Heroin?" I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, he's like, "If I don't find anything like that in your car, then we're going to be good to go." I'm like, "Well, you're not going to find any of that. So you're good to go, buddy." But yeah, that's, what was that? That was that. What else do I have? I guess I have another weird story. So I was having brunch, with some of my really good friends, and when I was there, so we're all of color, well, black, Jamaican, Honduran, all that stuff. So we're all over the map in the sense of brown people, and we're sitting there eating brunch, having a great time, mimosas, bottomless mimosas. You know what I mean? And this white lady came up to the group, and we're like, "Uh-oh," we're always like, "Oh shit, uh-oh, are they gonna say something weird?" So she's like, she looks at me and she's like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hi." She's like, "You know who you look like?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm like, this is, and the thing is like, okay, white people, stop. Don't do that. If you want to talk to like a group of brown people, just be like, "Hey, what's up?" And you're gonna get so much further with them, with any of, pretty much you're gonna get further with anybody other than if you say, "Hey, you know what you look like?" And especially when you say, "Hey, you know what you look like," to someone of color, you're like, they're like, "Oh, I don't know. What, like some guy who used to mow your yard?" I don't know. I have no idea what you're about to fucking say, buddy. And she's like, "Don't act." She's like, "Don't act silly." I'm like, "What do you mean, don't act silly?" She's like, "You know who you look like." I'm like, "I don't know who I look like." And I was like, "I don't know. I've gotten Adam Driver before. When I had long hair, I maybe, I don't know." I'm like, and once, I think I was like a sophomore in high school, I had a white girl, duh. Because you're going to be like, as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, "Well, duh." She was like, "You know what you look like? You look like a light-skinned Usher." And I'm like, "I don't." That's one. And two, duh, right? We're all like, yeah, white girl, yeah, it was a white girl who said that, yeah, duh. And so she was like, she's like, "You know exactly who you look like." And I'm like, "I really don't know." I'm like, "Ma'am, I have no idea who I look like. I have no idea." She's like, "You look like Patrick Mahomes." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Really? Do I really?" She's like, "Your curls." And I'm like, "My curls." Okay. She's like, "Yeah, you guys look just like each other." And I'm like, okay. She's like, "You've never heard that before?" I'm like, "No, you are the first person to ever say that. And you are going to be the only and the last person to ever say that, because no one thinks I look like Patrick Mahomes. No one. Like, Patrick Mahomes is light skinned, but like I make him look dark because I am so light. So no. Like I don't see this one. And I'm not one of these people who get that. I'm not one of these people who are the ones like, "You know who you look like, John? You know who you look like? You look like this person." I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm not that person. I don't look like anybody. I look like me, and that's about it. That's about it. But yeah, it was so funny, and it's just in the sense because after she left, all my friends were like, "Yeah, you don't look like Patrick." But it was just like how she was saying it in the sense of, why are you acting like this? Why are you acting like you've never heard this before? And what was so funny is like, if black people weren't there, you wouldn't believe it. You don't believe it now. You're probably like, John, shut up. No one thinks that you look like Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, there's one person in this world, one, and she's a wino at this brunch place in downtown Kansas City. Woof. Yeah, I know. Woof. Just rough times, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Shit, I really don't got much left. What, critical race theory? I'm like, does you guys want? I really don't want to talk about critical race theory. The only I have that, and then I have the Russian stuff. That's literally all it is. It says the Russian stuff. And I guess what I mean by the Russian stuff is like, the bombings that are going on right now in the Ukraine, which is fucking insane. Yeah, just weird thing. It's just like, I'm like, I saw it coming. It's like, I don't understand why everyone thought this wasn't going to occur. Why everyone, like he was warning us. He kept saying it. He kept talking about it over and over and over and over and over again. He's like, oh, if you guys keep on fucking with me, I'm going to do something. And I really don't have anything like, and I don't know. That's the thing is like, I come from a third world country. I come from a country that's like war torn. That literally the woman who is now president of our country, Honduras, her husband was the president at one time, but the cartel kicked him out, and then the cartel was running Honduras for like, I think like it was like 12 to 15 years, something like that. It was insane. And so like, I'm just like, yeah, these things happen. This is a little bit normal. I'm still not, and that's what's so fucked up. It's like, I'm still not really that fucking scared because I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, things will get hard. And I'm like, I really need to get some groceries this weekend because it's really important because like inflation is about to incur, and like I need to get stuff that's super cheap now and bulk up on it now. So then when the inflation goes up, so instead of something that costs $1, that's $1 right now, it's going to be going to be like, $2.50 pretty soon. And it's fucked up. That's what inflation is. Like, even like from today and tomorrow, like, so from when you see this to the day before you saw this episode, you've lost like what, 2% of what your dollar was. So like even today, like I went to the gas station, I got like $10 worth of gas, and because I just did it to see like how much it would be or like how much it was, and I just, and gas is at $3. I think it was like, I want to say it was like $3.40, not $3.40. That seems a little too high now. Still, it was like $3.50, something like that. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm like this is starting to remind me of California. I'm like, yeah, $3. Yeah, that reminds me, like whenever it's like $3, I was like, yeah, this is California. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not that bad. And then I come back to Missouri. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, this is not that bad. This is not that bad. That expensive. It's like $3.30, maybe it's $3.30, $3.50. I mean, it was like in the threes. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is Cali. I feel like I live in Cali again. I'm like, this is fun. Good times with the gas prices. Oh man, isn't it great? Inflation and how all this shit works. Like, isn't it weird? And it's like, what's so funny is like, it doesn't have to happen, but we are so fucking stupid as fucking creatures for some reason that we want to do this to each other. It's like, something fucked up over here happens with a group of people. We're going to affect everyone else over here. That's like, oh my God, dude, I was just fucking playing video games. What the fuck? I was helping this dude who had COVID. I'm just a painter. It's like, what the fuck? We're all like, God damn it. It's like we were in that class. Remember we were in class and like someone like makes a fart sound and the teacher's like, just someone says it. If no one says anything, then everyone gets punished. And then no one says anything. Oh, sorry. And then no one says anything, and then we all have to write like a fucking 3-page essay. It's like, God, and then we all have that feeling of like, God damn it. That's exactly how it is. Like when you're like, oh, yep, gas prices have gone up. Anyway, so that alarm was my alarm to tell me that the podcast is over. I can stop talking. Well, I'm going to go now before the tape runs out, because I have about 20 seconds before the tape runs out. So I will see you guys on the next episode. Yeah, bye. Have fun. Be safe. I love you guys. Bye.